series about books to babies. This is a series which I started around 1 year ago, where I discussed so much about books, how to introduce books to babies, and there are many videos on the playlist. If you have never watched books to babies videos, I would highly suggest you guys to go to my YouTube channel and check out the playlist books to babies, where you will find many videos of me explaining how you can introduce books to your baby right from pregnancy, and also during the infant stage when the child is born. And also you might be seeing a lot of videos of me reading some books along with my child Shraddhu, and also some of the recent videos where Shraddhu herself comprehend the story from the book and she reads and shows it to everybody. So if you have not watched that, go and check that out. So I am planning to make this books to babies videos on a weekly basis. I'm going to pick one topic every week and I'm going to explain in detail about that one particular topic on the books related video. Okay. So why I wanted to do this is because introducing books to babies is still not a very comfortable or easy way, or not many people know how to do it. So I really want everybody to associate the love for books right from the baby stage, so that every baby will have the privilege to associate their love for learning, and love for books is also being established. So that is the reason why I want to make this. And also this particular series of videos will always be free. I want to do it, and whether I'm doing it as a workshop, I don't want to do that as a workshop because many people might miss it. So that is the reason why I always post books to babies in my YouTube channel, because everybody should know this, everybody should have access to it. I don't want to commercialize that. That is the only reason. So today we are going to discuss about the stages of book reading. Okay, so we are going to discuss about it from each stage, the journey, we can say it is as a journey. Okay, so first thing, when you are pregnant with your child, when the child is in womb, as you guys might know that the brain development happens right from the child is formed in the womb, and whatever you speak, whatever you read, whatever you narrate to the child is listening, and that is going deep in their brain, and that is going to stay with them forever. So that is the reason why we can start narrating the story or reading books to the child right from the pregnancy stage itself. Okay, so when you are pregnant with your child and when you want to introduce books to your child, how you can do that? Step one is you can take a book, any book for that matter. It doesn't need to be a baby specific book, but you can read any book. For example, when I was pregnant with Shraddhu, I was reading Ramayana, I was reading Ponniyin Selvan. So these are some of the stories I used to read. The one thing I did was to read it out aloud. Usually what happens is we used to read the books, but we don't speak it aloud, but we will read it within ourselves. But for the child, I would suggest you to read it aloud, so the child will also develop the auditory learning. Okay, so whatever you are telling the child or reading to the child is hearing it. So you can read it aloud. And the next one is, the other way of introducing books to your baby is by narrating the stories whichever you have already read. For example, it also happens to be connecting time with the child. So every day, when this is when I was pregnant. Okay, so every night when after we reach home from office, it will be a very long tiring day and we all want to sleep, and at the same time we want to connect with our child who is in the womb. And as a parent, I always feel connected with my baby, but my husband might not be able to connect much better like me, right? So what we do is, he used to read the Ponniyin Selvan story aloud, so that I will listen and also my child will also listen. So that moments where will be very nice. We used to hear the story and we used to sleep. And there are some moments when once we started reading the Ponniyin Selvan book itself, after some 2 to 3 weeks of reading the chapters, for some of the characters like Vandiyathevan, for some of the characters, Aditya Karikalan. So for those characters, I could, whenever there is some some nice scene that is narrated, no, that time I could always feel that Shraddhu kicks and shows that she is actually listening. So those are the moments which we feel that, oh yeah, she is also listening to the story. So that is how it felt. So in the pregnancy stage, it is how it is. You will be reading aloud the book, or you will be your partner can read it aloud, or you can simply narrate the story. So for Ramayana and all, I used to narrate the story to my kid when she was in my womb. So that is how you will be doing when you are pregnant. Then we will be moving on to the next stage, which is the child's newborn stage. So when the child is a newborn, until 3 months, the child's vision is still developing. The area of focus is still very small. The child will not be able to focus not beyond this level. So the child will not always be able to see the primary colors also. Whatever they see, the black and white colors will be more attractive, which is the contrasting colors will be more attractive for the child. So if you are planning to introduce books to child right from newborn stage, you can get some infant stimulation books. Just like how we have infant stimulation flashcards, there are some books also which has high contrast images, that will have just the high contrast images and nothing else. So you can when you want your child to touch and feel, then you can give them the infant stimulation books. Otherwise you can still continue whatever you are doing in the pregnancy stage. Just now I explained you like how you read aloud to your child, right? So similar to that, you can read aloud to the child so that the child will listen. Once the child crosses the newborn stage and officially entering the infant stage from 4th month, the child will start seeing contrast colors also. So that is when you can actually introduce board books. So all of these details, like what books to introduce at what period of time, is already covered in one of my videos. You can check that out in my playlist Books to Babies. That is already covered. Okay. So in this video, we are just talking about the stages of the book reading journey. Okay. So in the infant stage, your child will be an active listener. Your child will be an active listener, and also infant stage until 4 to 6 months, you can your child will be lying on their back, right? So what you can do is you can just have the book like this, and you can talk to them like this. Oh yeah, you can just read it aloud for the child. Okay, so when the child is lying down like this, you can show the book like this and you can read it aloud for the child. You are telling the story to the child. Your child is an active listener in this stage. Okay, let me take a English book for example. So in this stage also, the child might not be very active in grabbing the book. They will just listen and they will just watch whatever you are showing. So you can choose a simple book with colorful pictures, like high contrast pictures. I don't have it right now with me, but yeah, any board books or any paperbacks also which colorful illustrations, which with large pictures, will definitely do. So those kind of books you can show it to your baby like this. Okay, so in this stage also, the child will be an active listener and they will be listening to whatever you are talking to them. I mean, whatever you are reading to them. Okay, once your child crosses their 6th month, that is when they will have a reflex to put everything in mouth, because that is also the time when we start the solids journey, right? So the child will naturally have a reflex to put everything in their mouth. So similarly, they will also mouth the books, because for a child every object is same. Whether you are giving them the plastic, whether they are giving them a puppet toy, whether you are giving them a cloth or your book, everything is an object, and the child learns with all of the senses. What I mean by all of the senses is they have all of the senses. We are seeing something and we know this is this. We are hearing something and we know this is that. But for a child, they want to see it, they want to touch it, they want to hear it, they want to taste it, they want to feel it, they want to do everything to learn about a particular object. Okay, so that is the reason why whenever your child sees this book, they want to touch it. That is, they want to grab it or they want to touch it. Once they touch the book, they want to taste it. That is why they will keep it in their mouth and bite, right? So what we usually do is we will be more scared when the child starts biting the book, and we will pull it from them. So therefore, to avoid that, for infants, it is always recommended to have board books. So why board books? I'll come to that later. So when you have a board books, even at this point of time, from 6 months, the stage of this journey will be an active listener. The child will be an active listener, but this time the child is actually observing every single detail which is in the book. Okay, so you can, since now the child will also be able to sit with support, you can make your child to sit on your lap, or you can make them sit in the high chair or something, whichever is comfortable for you, and you can read along with the child. So when you are reading along with the child, you will also be pointing the pictures or pointing the words. Okay, so when you point out the words, the child will observe every single detail of it. Even though at 6 months it is not that the child will be able to minute details, they will not be able to follow, but this is a habit which you can start from now. You can so whenever you are reading a line, you can keep your fingers below that words or below the sentences, and you can read it along. Okay, so in this stage also the child will be an active listener, but they are watching everything, they are observing everything. And then once they go to 7 months, 8 months, 9 months and all of that, the child will be more active, more having a little bit extra control. So that time the child will want to hold the book, the child will want to hold the book, the child will want to bite the book and see, and all of those stuff will happen. So suppose example, just imagine you're having a paperback book at that point of time. Okay, so if the child is having the paperback book, and if you're handing it over to the child is, for them this is just an object, and they are learning through all of the senses, so they want to do all sort of things to learn what is this. So for this object, they are considering it as an object, so they'll bang it, they will bite it, they will try to break it and all of that. So a paperback book might not withstand the capacity of the child, and also we will become more anxious. What we will say, hey, no, don't do this, don't do that, please don't grab this, please don't bite this, please don't tear this, you will tear this. So this anxiety will be more than the fun part. Okay, so that is why we always recommend board books for children who are just starting with books itself. Okay, because whether the child is 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, or 2.5 years, whatever it may be, if this is the first time you are giving a book, or if this is the first time you're introducing books to your child, I would strongly suggest you to start with board books, at least for some days, so that the child will get familiarized with the book, and also they will get a hang of it. So just imagine you are given some object, and then constantly people are telling not to do this, not to use like this, use like this way, like this. You will hate the product, you will just put it away and you will just move on, right? So to avoid that, we are giving them board books, because whatever way they do, the board books can withstand. At least for some period of time, the board books can withstand. So we as a parent will not have anxiety, and we will let the child to independently handle the book. So that is the main important thing. The child will have to feel the ownership of the book. They can see however they want. They want to feel it. They want to know what it is inside and all of those stuff. So we want to create a loving relationship. So that is the reason why we introduce board books at the beginning of the journey. So when the child is around 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, they want to hold the perfect. So what they will do, what you can do to support it is, you can let them actually handle the book while you read the book. So at this stage also, the child will be listening to your cues, like whenever you are reading the book, when you are reading this page, once you are done to the next page, you can model the child how to open the next page. So on seeing you, the child will also try to open the page. So you can say, okay, next page, and then you can help the child to open the next page. So since we have different varieties of books, like flip flap books, slide and see books, push and pull books, all of those stuffs are there, no? So those are very nice at this point of time, where your child will interact with the book, and they will try to do some interactions with the book, which they will feel connected to it. Okay, so the next page, they will help you with turning the pages, they will help you with pushing, sliding, tracing, and all of this stuff. And also, while you read to the child, you can point out the words and point out the animals or whatever you are seeing in the book. So suppose if there's an elephant and tiger coming, then you can tell them, oh tiger, this is the elephant, see the elephant is running over here, the monkey is jumping on the tree. So you can just make some actions, you can show them, point out where that particular object is present in the book. So all of this will happen during this point of time. So this will continue until 1 year, and during this stage your child might be having want to read the same book again. Once you're done with the book, you will close it and you will keep it away, and the child might want to see it again. So they will show you cues like, I want to read this book again. Just go again, read the book when the child asks for it, because the child likes it. So once the child likes it, and if you are supporting them to do that, that is going to be amazing, and the results are going to be amazing. Don't worry about how many times you read the same book. There will be stages, there will be phases where you will be reading the same book for the 10th time, for the 20th time the whole day. But that's okay, because children loves repetition and their brain relies more on repetition, and children learn so much through repetition. So when the child is leading you, this is what we say as follow the child's lead. Okay, so this is one of the stage. People get often confused that my child wants to read the same book again and again. Shall I read it again and again? Should I read it again and again? So that is one of the things. You can read it again and again. Follow the child's lead is one of the best thing that you can do when your child is able to express their needs. Respecting it and being responsive to it will help them to be more proactive in showing their experiences, in showing their expressions. Okay, so continue that. And also, so I was telling you like how this is going to be, right? So till 1 year, your child will be an active listener. Okay, the child will be an active listener. Whatever you are reading, however you are reading, however you are showing, everything is being observed. So when you are showing the child every word that you read, every point, if you point out the pictures in the book, everything is being observed. How you are moving the book, how you are reading from left to right or right to left, or however you are reading, how you are actually opening the book, how you are opening the flaps, how you are actually expressing it, all these are being noticed by the child. Okay, so that is this stage. So after the child is 1 year, the child is again more active now, right? And they will have a power of control. They want to have a power of control. They want to select their own books. Actually, I wanted to tell you this before itself, but right from the newborn stage or right from the infancy stage, or whenever you are starting with books, just from the day one, offer them choices. So that will give you a sense of ownership. So every time when you are starting with a new book reading journey, when you are starting your book reading journey, I highly suggest you to give choices. It could be, you can select 4 books, maybe 3 books or something. You might be having some books, right? You can select some 3 or 4 books, and you can just present it in front of the child and ask them to select which book they want to read first. Okay, so you don't need a specific bookshelf or a specific book reading area to do this. Okay, whenever you are going to read books, you can just lay some 3 or 4 books in front of the child. You can point out and tell the names of the books. Okay, for example, I am having 3 books right now. Okay, 3 books I have right now. So how I will demonstrate, I'm just going to demonstrate how I will ask my child to choose. Okay, I'll just lay all 3 of the 3 books here. So I'll tell, okay, so we are going to read book now. So which book you want to read first? Super Dad, Tamil Meyyezhuthukal, or Mummy Ka Chashma? So this is how I will show. I have placed all the 3 books here, and I am pointing out as I'm reading the title of the book. Okay, so I'm reading the titles of the book, and I'm asking her to point, or I'm asking her to choose which book she wants to read. So she might be pointing it out, or she might be grabbing it and giving it to me, or she will choose it. Okay, so once the child chooses the book, keep the rest of the books slightly away and focus on the book which the child wants to read, and you go with that. So once this is done, you can keep it away at the other end, and you can show the other 2 books and ask them which book you want to read next. Super Dad or Mummy Ka Chashma. So every time when you are reading the book, it's always recommended to tell the title of the book along with the name, whoever have written author name. Okay, why we are reading author name is because it will give the child that this product is being written by a human. A human is involved in making these pictures. A human is involved in preparing the story. Okay, so that is the reason. And also every time read the titles to the child, so the child will remember the title. You will be very much surprised to see that the child is actually remembering the titles even after months when you're introducing that book to the child, or if they just see it anyway. Okay, so this is one thing that everybody can follow right from the first day of introducing books to your child. So we are talking about the stages of the book reading journey, and we have covered the newborn stage, pregnancy stage, infant stage, and we are entering into the toddler stage. So the toddler stage is kind of, they need a lot of control. They want to have a ownership. So start with selecting the books. Now is the time you can, once the child starts moving, once the child starts walking, right? So you can keep the books, you can keep piles of book here and there. For example, I used to have some books in her activity shelf. I used to have some books in the bedroom. So whenever we reach bedroom, whenever we come to bedroom, there will be some books, 4 to 5 books there for her to select and read. And during the activity time in hall, so in the hall room, so if she wants to read any of the books, she will take it and read it. Okay, so always segregate books, 2 or 3 books you can keep it here and there. Suppose if you're having a book table, bookshelf, dedicated bookshelf, it is also very good and nice. So you can just keep the books there, and you can, the child will themselves, they will select it and read. So selection is the first thing. And then when this child starts to read, you can feel, you can see that the 1 year plus children, they love repetition a lot. So once you read this book, they want to read this book again and again and again and again and again. So that happens, that will definitely happens, especially in the period of 1 year plus, around 1.5 years and all that. They will have some specific likes towards something. They like some, for example, they might like animals more. They might like vehicles more. They will show a strong interest over something, and they will like to read all things related to that. So that is when you can actually observe what your child loves, and you can buy books according to the child's interest, and you can read it along. So while you read it along, this time what happens is that your child might not focus on one particular page. For example, suppose if you are reading this book, and if there is 4 lines here, the child might not be interested to read all the 4 lines, and they want to move to the next page. So in that case, what happens? Well, how you will take it through? So this also happens, because suppose if this page is not very much interesting for the child will not wait for you to read all the lines. Okay, so they will try to go to the next page. It's okay, you can go. And suppose there are a few pages where your child is more interested to watch that, and the child might not be very much interested. The child, even though the child is not listening to the sentences, they might be looking at this page more for a long time. That is also fine. You can actually, following the child's lead, you can stay there until the child wants to go to the next page. So you can stay with the child, observing what they are observing. Some children might be little slightly verbal at 1+ years, and they will try to point out something, and some children might not be verbal yet. They will be keep observing the page. So that is also fine. You can stay calm and stay silent until your child focuses it and wants to move on. So this will give them great focus, and attention span will also increase, because you don't interrupt the child when they are actually focused on something. Okay, so that is one thing. And so this will happen. So once you're done with the book, you can see that the child is actually wants to read the book again. So if the child wants to read the book again and again, go ahead and read it again and again. So no problem about that. So the next one will be after some years, after some months, like after 1.5 years, around 2 years of something, the child might not want some books to read. Even though it is a very new book, this is the first time you are introducing a book to the child might not be very comfortable in reading all the books. Just like how, even though she was a very good reader, You might sense that your child doesn't want to read some new books just by looking at the cover page. It's okay, respect it. Don't force the child to read this book just because you bought this for 100 bucks, 500 bucks. Don't force a child to sit and watch this book. So when you start forcing your child, that is when your child will lack interest and they will just run away, trying to go away, because that is being considered as a core, or they don't want to do it. So don't force the child. If the child doesn't want to look at the book, just look at the cover picture, absolutely okay. Just keep it inside. Introduce it again later after some weeks. Okay, that should be fine. And also you can always have the familiar books. Along with it, you can introduce one unfamiliar book. Okay, so that is also one thing. And also at the same time, around 2 years of age, the child will be more interested on one particular topic. So if we find out what topic is there and try to introduce something similar on that. And also from the 2 years of age, the child will be more aware of their body parts and all that. So you can introduce, and also their emotions and all that. So you can introduce the books which talks about body parts, and you can introduce books talks about their own emotions. And you can even use books as a tool to communicate. For example, so you can just you can just show them a book where the child is feeling angry, feeling sad, feeling happy, that talks about different emotions and when they feel that particular emotion. So those kind of books can be introduced at that particular point of time. And when the child becomes verbal, some children are very early speakers, like for example, Shradhu is a very early speaker. She started speaking sentences from even 20 months. She started speaking sentences. And at those period of time, when the child is having a language burst or vocabulary improvement, they have a language sensitive period, right? So when the sensitive period is there, the child might not let you to read the book. So even though the child is more interested in watching the book, they will want to narrate to you, and they will not let you read. They will only keep the book and they will only looking at it again and again, and they will try to even communicate. They will not let you read word by word. That can also happen. So what you can do at that time is, again, follow the child's lead. It is not necessary that you have to read word by word. If the child wants to look at the pictures and tell you the story, then that is fine. You can look at the pictures and tell them the story. Sometimes the child will feel more connected when you tell the story instead of reading the lines. Okay, so you can actually narrate the story yourself in your own language, or in the language of the book, whatever is comfortable for you. So many people used to ask me, like, my native language is different, I'm introducing an English book to her. The child is not listening to me when I'm reading the sentences. She's not interested, but when I'm telling the story in my native language, she feels connected and she is actually interested to listen, to sit and listen. So what can I continue it? So this kind of question comes commonly to me. So I would suggest you guys to go ahead with that, because the first thing that we want to do is to have a connection between book and the baby, right? So it is not necessary that you have to read word by word for the child to understand. We are not making the child to understand or do something. We just want the child to have a good relationship with the book. So you can tell the story in your native language also. So the child will feels more connected with the book. They will understand it better. They will be able to connect the dots of the book better. If that is the case, just go ahead. And also, if the child is feeling familiar and if the child is feeling comfortable, you can read the book word by word or sentences by sentences. So that is the reason why we always have a very minimum number of words or simple sentences for small children, because their attention span is very minimum. You can't keep reading some 5 to 6 lines in each page. That won't work out. Okay, for example, this is the book Super Dad. So if you see this book, this is a very small book. Like, pictures will be very big, but the sentences will be very small. So look at that, said mom. So there's a very small sentence in each page. So every page will have a big picture to talk about. We used to talk about the pictures more than what we read here. So no, he looks good, said Wolf. So it's just one sentence that is written here, but we will build conversation. See how she is smiling at him. See, he's wearing a yellow trousers. He's wearing a Superman dress. He's keeping his arms like this. So like that, we will be having conversations about the picture. So it's not just about the sentences which we have in the book, but the conversations we build around that page. So that is the main thing. For example, if this page, if you consider, there is just one or two lines, very small sentences is written here, but we will be talking about many things. Even I told you, right, around 2 years of age, your child will be starting to notice the minute details of the book. So at that time, what happens, she used to ask me like, what is this guy's name, what is this person's name, why this person's mouth is like this, why this person is staring like this, why this person is smiling like this. All these questions the child will ask, and be prepared to answer that as well. So this is one of the stage. So what I wanted to tell you is, we have covered the pregnancy stage, newborn stage, infant stage, and toddler stage. And what is common between all of this is following the child's lead. So what I mean by following the child's lead is, at every stage in the reading journey, the child will show the cues of how they want to read, what they want to read, how they want to hold it, whether you want to read to them, or whether they want to read it, or whether they want to read it again and again, or they don't want to read it at all. So all of these cues are given by your child. The signals is given by your child itself. Okay, so respect that and continue it. I wish you all a very, very happy reading journey. Meanwhile, I have some questions. Let me answer that. Um, I don't see messages. Okay. Okay, so Ramya is asking, even if I place n number of books in front of my son, he's choosing the same book every day. Yeah, that happens, Ramya. This is what I was telling you. At a phase, that is a phase when your child will choose the same book over and over and over. They love that book. They love repetitions. Okay, especially when the child is at below 3 years, the child will want to read it again and again and again. Okay, just to get the familiarity, just to get the connection, because they like it. And also maybe they are learning something from that book. You might not know what they are actually learning until they finish their learning. They want to read it again and again and again, and it's absolutely okay. You can continue reading it again and again, how many number of times the child wants. Just go ahead. It's a very nice phase, and this phase will move on, don't worry. And there is nothing to worry also. And here's another question. Your sessions are nice. My elder one is 4 years and younger one is 5 years, 5 months. Oh, that's nice. I think you can start if you have not started reading books to your baby. I think this is the right time to start. Yeah. So this particular series, Books to Babies, is going to be there in my YouTube channel. So you guys can watch out and check out the playlist where I have posted so many book videos. And I'll meet you next week. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Please do subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram. Bye bye.